First story. How to stop comparing myself to them. For some context, today is 1 month since D-Day. I found out my WW, 28, had been having an emotional affair with 2 guys she met playing games with for approximately 2 months. The first guy there was flirting, and the second guy she sent some teasing pictures to, no nudes. He sent her a nude back, and she asked him to never send one again because she didn't want that. We were in a rough spot in our marriage and she liked the attention and feeling wanted, but didn't want things to progress to a relationship with either. They live in a different country, which helps. We've been reconciling, and with the exception of these affairs, and the pain and betrayal that came along with them, the last month has been the best of our marriage, and I'm glad we are working on things and reconciling. But I struggle to stop comparing myself to them physically and can't stop checking their social media. I have them blocked on Twitter so they can't see me, but I can still view them. The one guy is in his early 40s and the other guy is in his mid-30s. I'm 27 and my WW is 28. I've asked if she perceived them as more mature than me or more attractive than me, and she says absolutely not. I have poor self-esteem, but looking at them I feel I am more attractive than them. My comparing myself to them in every way possible hurts our reconciliation, as it leads to me doubting myself and asking her repetitive questions. The age difference between myself and them hurts. She's told me it was just because they expressed interest and age was not a factor in starting it. The affairs lasted for 2 months or less, and now a month into reconciliation and rebuilding, I don't want them to continue to bring harm to my marriage for longer than the affairs happened for. How do I stop the constant comparisons and self-doubt? Will my anger and hatred towards them ever end? Update. Conditions for my 27 MWW, 28F, had 2 online affairs. One was a EA, with sexual talk, and the other was an EA and PA, pictures exchanged. These affairs lasted roughly 2 months. D-Day was July 8, 2023 and R has been going okay. Some days are great and I feel like she is taking serious steps to change and reassure me. Other days I struggle with what happened and she can be harsh and triggering. I asked her to seek IC, which she agreed to reluctantly. I've also asked for a timeline disclosure letter as she trickle-truthed me for 3 weeks post D-Day. I sometimes feel like there was more that she hasn't told me and that hurts. We purchased Not Just Friends and started reading it together, but we have not made it far due to her lack of interest. She feels reading it just upsets me more as I start to ask questions about her affairs. I also purchased her How to Help Your Partner Heal from Your Affair, and she has not started it yet, despite having it for months. While checking her phone, I saw the timeline she had put together, and it was extremely vague with no specifics at all. She has a Reddit account, but will not post asking for help unless I ask her if she has or suggest she does it. Anytime I bring it up, she gets upset and it starts a fight where she says she does not feel like I appreciate what she does and nothing is ever good enough. I'm scared to push the subject too hard or too often, as she says feeling undesired and unappreciated is what lead her to being vulnerable to these affairs. I love her and the life we have built together over 10 years. We have 4 kids, and the thought of not being able to see my kids every day because of her actions hurts me. She has taken so much from me with these affairs. We were each other's first for anything sexual related, and now that is something she shared with others. I had to put my childhood cat and best friend down July 7th. Finding this out the next day, I checked her phone. She did not disclose. Robbed me of being able to grieve for him properly. Am I wrong for feeling like she needs to put more effort into that she should be helping me heal and building our relationship up stronger by completing what I feel would help? Can I have some advice on how to productively approach this subject with her? How to stop being so angry? My WW and I are working on and she has made vast improvements from prior to D-Day. I have previous posts if you want to read the whole story. She says she knows how badly she messed up and I do honestly believe her. but I am a very angry person. I've always had a short fuse, and I've gone to counseling to try and get help for that, many childhood issues. Lately though, I'm back to the slightest thing making me snap. I am so full of anger and hatred towards both APs. They live in another country thankfully, but I am tempted to look at their social media Twitter every day just to keep tabs. I went as far as making a parody account of one of them with AP's name cheats on his wife. I deactivated the account before following him. They have left myself and WW alone since D-Day, so I don't want to stir that pot. But at the same time I have so much rage at them I want to just unleash, ruin their lives and make them pay. I will get upset at my WW and will snap and tell her to get out of the house and that I want a divorce because I can't move past this. I truly want to work on us and I want to stay together for our family. But there are times I look at her and remember what was said and what happened, and it makes me sick. I wake up in a sweat from nightmares of her cheating on me again. Has anyone dealt with something similar, and do you have any advice that can help me? D-Day is coming up on 7 months, so this is still relatively fresh. Update. Feeling indifferent towards Wayward? Hello all. Short recap. Last year my wife had an online EA from end of April to beginning of July, and an online EA in PA. Pictures exchanged from mid-May to beginning of July. I have previous posts if you want to read everything. Now about 9 months out from day, we have had times where things are going great. She's been putting in work on realizing what happened and dealing with childhood issues through counseling. She's taken accountability for her choices. We were working on ourselves and also us as a couple, but for the last month and a bit, I've felt indifferent towards her. I don't hate her or dislike her by any means, but I don't have that same level of love that I had for her before. I look at her and all I see is pain and betrayal. It's hard to be affectionate or physical because of this. It feels like we are roommates, and there are times where stuff she does just annoys me that didn't before. There is a lady at work who is my age and also has kids. As majority of people are either older or younger, we have become friendly. She has told me about issues she has in her marriage. I am very well aware that this could turn into an EA, so I have told her she should talk to a counselor about her marriage issues, or offered suggestions of how she could explain to her husband how she feels. I do not confide in her about my own issues. My WW feels that I will cheat on her with this coworker, despite there being no interest on either of our parts. My WW says she feels that I will do it as revenge. Coupled with the feelings towards my WW, I have started to wonder if I would be happier with someone else, not necessarily this coworker. I am aware of the grass looking greener when it isn't, and it's easy to imagine your life being so amazing with someone until you're living together. I guess my question is, for those who have been betrayed, have you had similar feelings or thoughts? Is this a stage of grief betrayal that I'm going through? Is there work I can do to help get through feeling this way? Update. WW just wants to rug sweep. BH here, 28 meters. Getting close to 1 year post D-Day and struggling. Full stories in previous posts. Short story. My WW had an online EA and PA pictures with 2 guys she met online. My mental health is completely in the toilet and I'm struggling with anniversaries of things happening. Adding them on Snapchat, pictures exchanged, etc. My WW has completely lost any of the tiny bit of empathy she had. After D-Day it was like pulling teeth to get a disclosure letter. I bought How to Help Your Spouse Heal from Your Affair for her to read. She claims she read it, but never told me anything she learned from it. I bought Not Just Friends and we read a couple chapters and then she wanted to stop because I was getting triggered. I bought an affair recovery workbook that was never used. She gets incredibly angry at me anytime I bring it up or my triggers. She claims she doesn't want to rug sweep, but to me that's all she wants to do. She won't listen to how I feel. She keeps telling me I need to stop bringing up the past and move forward. I've told her I want to fix this now, and if we don't, resentment will continue to grow in me. It already is. and I'll leave her once the kids, we have 4, are out of the house. I know I shouldn't only stay for the kids, but the fact that best case scenario I only see my kids 50% of the time because of her actions hurts. I definitely screw up and throw it in her face when we fight that she's cheated and the pain and trauma she's caused me. I know I shouldn't and that it's not healthy. I have so much pain, and the fact it feels like all guilty parties essentially got away with it and I'm left full of hurt and trauma bothers me. Open to all perspectives please. Am I the issue and I just need to stop talking about how I feel and never bring it up again? Or am I right to feel upset about what I perceived as rug sweeping from her? Second story. My wife cheated while we were engaged for 6 years. Long story short, I'm 25, wife, F25. We just got married 4 months back. We were engaged for 6 years. I got to know she was cheating on me while we were engaged. She had a BF before we got engaged, and after our engagement she continued the relationship for 2 years. After some time her BF got engaged and married to someone else, and my fiancé got into relationship with a new guy, and their relationship lasted for 4 years, until our marriage. This is so messed up. And in addition to that, while she was involved with her second BF, she was also seeing her ex-BF who is married. IDK, what the hell just happened in my life? It's been 4 months and we are married and she cheated on me for 6 years. IDK, what I should do? Should I tell this to my parents or give her a chance, as she's saying she didn't contact them after the marriage? As we both belong to conservative and orthodox community, IMSO blank, and I have no clue how to move ahead. I got to know about her cheating on me after 4 months of marriage. People addressing me as CUCK, it's a big no. I'm not, and we come from a South Asian family, and here it will affect on my family and her family's reputation. People will talk and whatnot. That's one of the reasons I'm going crazy. I know the seriousness of cheating, but I am worried about families and society. Need an advice. Update. My wife cheated on me while we were engaged for 6 years. So recently I confronted my wife and here is what she said. It was a huge mistake I know I should not have done. At the beginning our engagement, our bonding wasn't so good, and at the young age I got distracted. And I realized that what I was doing was absolutely wrong, so I wanted to end things with AP2. She doesn't know that I know about AP1. And when she tried break up with AP2, he got furious and started threatening and torturing her that he will tell her family and me about their affair, and how she cheated on me, if she leaves him. And the relationship continued for another 2 years, until our marriage. They were having lots of fight about how she can't marry him BCZ of her parents' reputation in our community. And he kept forcing her for marriage. And if she doesn't that, he'll tell everyone about their affair, so she was scared of their that our engagement may break off and how it will damage her family reputation and how other people will see her. She is crying and asking for forgiveness. Deep down I know it's not the entire truth. She is begging and love bombing me and promising me that from now onwards, she will never do such a thing, and she hates herself for this, and she will never hide anything. I also contacted AP2. So we spoke over the phone. He moved to a different country. Initially he wasn't ready to speak about it, but I had to know, so he took some time and he called me after 2 days and told me he wanted to tell me and confess everything, and I was so shocked by what I heard from him. It all began when my wife, Kay, was in school. She met AP1 in her school, and they were in a relationship for almost 8 years, and their love affair was so intense. In school time AP1 got engaged to someone from his community due to family, and Kay didn't like it and she made him break off the engagement, and they continued their relationship. After school she followed AP1 to his college 2017, and they were enjoying their relationship in different city and same college. I remember we got engaged in 2018. She was in her college. She started cheating on me. So she was in a relationship with him and engaged with me at the same time for next 2 years. In 2020, AP1 was supposed to get married to his fiancée, so he restarted giving time to his fiancée and kept distance with K, though they were still in contact and kept their emotional affair going on. She was heartbroken while being engaged with me. AP1 was getting married. She got in touch with AP2 through a common friend in mid-2020 on the day of her birthday, and she fell in love with him harder than ever. She proposed AP2. He said yes. She never felt this happy before. She confessed about her engagement to AP2 after 3 months, and told him that she can't marry him for the same reason she could not marry AP1 family, reputation, community, and AP2 told her to focus on her engagement and make a better relationship with me. But she said that I'm not interested in her, and I told her that find a boyfriend, and lied to him to keep him in her life. He told her that he's getting very serious and emotionally invested, so please don't take this further if she can't handle it. And if she wants to be treated like a priority, then she has to give commitment and put efforts. She agreed on, and they kept their relationship. The new relationship was like honeymoon. For the first 1.5 years they had physical relations too. While she was with AP2 and engaged with me, she used to speak with AP1 occasionally. After 1.5 years, she met him in a function, and then she suddenly started saying no for marriage, and this made AP2 very furious. That how can you take U-turn from commitment? After some arguments and fights, she agreed to marry him. The topic of marriage became big reason for their fight. She started ignoring him, avoiding him, treating him very bad, and giving him silent treatment. Meanwhile they got physical, and it was a very lustful relationship between them. She hardly used to show him emotion, but when it came to sex she loved it. In January 2021, K and AP2 got in a huge fight about the marriage topic. She denied, so AP2 asked her why did she do this to him. Earlier she was ready, now she is backing off. Also she cheated on her fiancé me. AP2 told her that if she does this he won't keep this infidelity as a secret and won't let her use him as a rebound after this much time and emotional investment. So he will talk with her parents and fiancé me, that they love each other and put things in the right places, but she gets scared that her parents will beat her. They will know, people will know, her family will be boycotted from community. What people will think about her, this fear took over her head, and she started creating distance from him. After a month AP2 met their common friend, and he got to know that my Wifak had called AP1 last month and told him that AP2 is blackmailing her and that he'll tell everyone about their relationship. She called AP1 right 1 week after sleeping with AP2. This broke AP2, and he lost his trust in her. He saw her partying in marriage and having fun, while distancing with him. At that time he was so broke, but she didn't care. I could see how much AP2 had loved her and did everything to save the relationship. After knowing that she contacted AP1 behind his back, he spoke with AP1. AP1 told AP2 that she is a very selfish person. She had ruined his life, and how she is ruining his life. She did the same thing with him, made him attached to her emotionally, and left him by saying she can't marry him. AP2 spoke with her. She said that everything she has done until now is wrong, and she wants to make things right. She will try to marry AP2, and she will never speak to AP1. 2023. AP2 and my now Wifak were having a good time. Sometimes the marriage topic used to come up, and she used to say yes, she will marry, and sometimes she used to say she is scared, and she won't be able to do it, like a complicated answer. In November 2023, AP2 caught her talking to AP1, and he got to know that they never stopped talking, and she was cheating on AP2. She used to meet AP1, even though he was married, and he had a 1-year-old baby girl, and AP1 also hid it from AP2 knowing she is engaged, and she is also having one more relationship. So basically she cheated on her fiancé, me, with AP2 and AP1, and she cheated on AP2 with AP1. AP2 was emotionally traumatized and didn't know what to do. And in the same month our family decided to get us married in March 2024. AP2 kept begging her to give her a chance, but she turned so cold, only used him to spend money and masturbate every day on the phone. He literally said that she used to masturbate with him on the phone every damn day, until the last week of our marriage. And this is happening since 2021. They were physically active. They were sexting, sending nude and talking dirty and masturbating on video calls every day. Even after our marriage got fixed, they were having intimate video calls, and she met him in December and January, and they got intimate and went to a temple. She said she will marry AP2, and after some time she refused and said she won't do anything. She doesn't have that strength to admit this in front of everyone, and left him hanging alone. He kept telling her that even if she doesn't want to marry him, at least tell her fiancé, me, the truth and don't ruin his life with a lie and such a horrific secret. He deserves to know this, but she refused and blamed him. AP2 told her that he'll tell her parents and me everything, but she threatened him that she will file a case against him and won't let him go to another country for his higher studies. He kept begging for a chance to talk to her family and me to let everyone know and not to fool anybody, but she didn't let him. Currently he is taking therapy and trying to heal himself from this incident. He was with her for 4 years, and while all this was happening I was unaware of everything, trusting her blindly. We all trusted her at some point. She was entertaining 3 men at the same time, and she chose me because of money, family pressure and reputation in the community, and never let me have a single thought about what's happening behind my back. I believed that everything between her and me was going smooth. She treated me like she really liked me. Years ago she had a doubt that I was having an affair with my classmate, and she made me remove her from all my social handles and friend circle. As per AP2 and my discussion, she didn't care about anyone except her family and her reputation. AP2 told me that he tried reaching out to me a few times, but I didn't respond. I was selected in the police department and was under the training period. He cared about her family and the money her father took as a loan for marriage. Also, she is a girl, and in our country laws are partial to women, so if she files any type of false case against him, he will get in huge trouble. I asked him for the SS of the chat and photos videos, but he refused that she might file a case of defamation for sharing private chat and photos. But he sent me some decent chat SS and pics, and I can see he is absolutely right. This is what happened behind my back while we were engaged for 6 years. AP1 is happily married with his wife and kid. AP2 is away in a different country all alone taking therapy. And here she is begging for forgiveness and not to tell anybody. She is also thinking of filing case against AP2. IDK what, but yeah, this is so messed up. I never thought people can go this low. It's been 4 months of our marriage. We went on moon and were having a good time until I found out this. Trusting her is difficult by the way she treated AP1 and AP2. Also, how can anybody do such a thing? This is inhuman. For me, for AP2, and I think AP1 feet wife deserves to know this. I and AP2 both agreed on not put this out on huge display and harm her reputation because she is a girl. Sorry for making it lengthy and long, but had to say it in one go. Not sure if I'm gonna update further, but this is what happened with me. If you've read until here, I really appreciate it. I really need an advice on how to approach to this situation. Whose fault is this? Third story. Wife asks for open the marriage and cheated on me. After over 5 years saving money, my wife 36F and I 37M bought an apartment in Spain for us to move in the near future. We were super happy and planning how we would renew few things for a long time, and 5 months later, last year my wife suggested opening the marriage for the duration of February, the month that I went to a surgery in my home country. I first rejected as it's not my thing, and after she said that was what she wanted, I ended up accepting. maybe for fear of losing her, and I put some rules on place. 1 can't be someone around us, 2 can be at our house, 3 can't repeat, 4 we would never talk about what happened. First week off the month I'd had a chance of having sex with someone else, and I just didn't want to. I didn't feel like doing that. Not to mention that I was finding out a lot of health issues like kidneys showing signals of failure, lumbar disc damage for life, checking for a problem on my knee and doing all the medical preparation for the surgery. And that same week she had friends that came over, so she didn't do anything. On second week, about 2 days before my surgery, she told me that her friend from work had friends over his house, and she offered our house for him to stay. I didn't like that, but didn't say anything to not sound jealous. I first heard about this friend December she went to his house. They invited me, but I was meeting a friend and didn't go. Their friendship went up very fast. January they already were like BFF. On my surgery day 10 of February this guy comes to my house. After my surgery we messaged each other, and she mentioned he was in my house with her and said me to not worry about it, and I said her I wasn't worried, saying, I trust you blindly, not to mention I was with the anesthesia getting out of the body, full of morphine and painkillers, going through a lot of pain, so that wasn't something I was worried about. 11 of February. I go to my parents' house, and after a day where everything went wrong I broke down and started to message her telling that I don't want to keep the agreement. That is not something I want, that I'm happy with her, and I don't want to be with anyone else. And she got kinda of angry about all that conversation, telling me that she does not see her having sex with only one person for the rest of her life, and now that I don't let her anything she can't do what she wants, and when I come back home we talk about that. And I explained her that I accept that because I was afraid of losing her, to be complacent and things like that. During this conversation I'm asking her for stop the agreement. They kissed each other. After the kiss she got a bit shocked and went to our room alone. Next day I woke up, and because I was afraid, confused, I apologized her about last night conversation and told her we could keep the marriage open as she wanted, but I added a new rule. That was I wanted to know everything she did. She gets into angry, like texting saying she's confused about me blocking the agreement, unblocking it again, but adding more rules. She sent me voice notes saying that's not a big deal as was for the month. I told her that was my right and she had the obligation of telling me. She said that makes no sense because we both know that I wouldn't handle that well. And I said that was my right. If I could not handle, we break up or whatever. She ends this afternoon conversation saying she does not want to talk about that. On that same night she went to a party with friends and coworkers. She came back home and we are chatting by message for quite a while, and I asked her if someone had come to our house to sleep. She's traumatized about being on her own overnight. So I was worried and she told me her friend came home. We kept some more conversation and gave good night to each other, and they start to have sex in the sofa and end in the guest room. Somewhere in middle of February, we had a conversation by phone where we spoke about the opening of the marriage. And I told her I didn't want to and I wasn't comfortable with all of that. She asked me if I had done something and I told her I had the chance but didn't do anything. She said she didn't do anything. This conversation goes anywhere. Somewhere around the end of February, we had a phone call where she brings up this subject again. And we had an argument about she saying that telling me about the adventures was an absurd. And after few justification from my side, I get angry and tell her to do whatever she wants and don't tell me anything because I didn't care anymore. And when I get back home, we talk about the future of our relationship. Few days later, on February 23rd, she went to a company dinner and they all end up in the pub. She came back home alone because the friends stayed on the street close to my home. She sent me a text message saying she got home. We chatted for about 40 minutes and gave good night. That was about 4:30 a.m. After that she rang this guy and asked him to come to our house. They stayed in the sofa talking and touching each other until fall asleep. Few hours later they wake up and went to the guest room for have sex again. After that she texted me as usual around 12:30 afternoon. After that I came back to our home and our relationship was disgraceful for about 1 month. She didn't want to have sex with me at all. When we can handle this situation anymore, I opened the conversation about divorce, and after I stated to cry a lot and she suggests us to give another chance. After that our relationship went up very fast and stayed in a level that we never experienced before. Few months later she brings me to meet friends and introduced me to this friend who she had sex with. It's a very friendly and way handsome than me. He's almost 10 years younger than me. We spoke quite a lot, only two of us. After that my wife and I went out 2 more times where this guy was present. Middle August, she went to his house once for barbecue with all friends from work in a day that I was working. At this time this guy is starting a relationship with another woman from work. End of September, after I had my emergency surgery of gallbladder removal and was recovering, she invited me to go with her to his house for a barbecue. This guy gave me a handshake so long, looking deeply into my eyes, that I felt very uncomfortable with, so much that I never forgot. Their friendship started to get complicated as they have a lot of values differences, and she is the manager and had to report him. They ended up meeting in a pub for break up their friendship. End of November we decide go for a baby. No doubt it's mine. We had fertile tests and pregnancy test for the whole month while doing a lot of sex while she was fertile. End of December this guy leave the company and we get to know she's pregnant. 6 weeks ago I involuntarily made few connections in my head and confronted her about what happened between them in February, and she confessed to me everything. Now I'm struggling a lot to deal with all this. She showed me her texts with him. January they had some conversation where he was calling her MILF. She's about 7 years older than him, where she just laughed. They didn't need talk over messages, they worked together, and WHE things was happening. He was in my house. She deleted all Instagram messages from February and back. Only thing left was a relevant conversation. She asked for open the marriage. Against my heart I accepted, and not satisfied with it she broke all the rules except the no disclosure one. The only one that was convenient to her. In the same day I basically begged to stop all this. Story was the day she did something while telling me she wasn't going to do anything. Next day she reaffirmed that she wasn't going to do anything, and she had sex few hours later. She introduced me to him. She brought me to his house. She was going to keep this hidden from me forever. She is in a tremendous pain seeing my suffering. She told me she experienced that in a different way, as didn't remember the rules, so she accepts the blame but didn't see that she cheated on me. She recognized that after few weeks of we arguing about. I love her a lot. After all this we improved our communication skills a lot. She's way more lovely to me now. We are having loads of sex now, and better than ever with her starting things sometimes. We are 3 months away from having our first baby. My life for the past 5 weeks is cry, have nightmares every night, feeling insecure about so many different things, have anxiety attacks quite often. I can't sleep without medication. Sometimes I feel better and we can do things. I'm struggling a lot to get over all this story, staying with her and afraid of if I leaving her, and I regret as I feel she's the love of my life. I'm struggling to accept her version of the story where she says that the guy was only in the right place in the right time. She says that was only those 2 days and they never spoke about that anymore. As she's only 3 months from giving birth, if we break up or give a time she will need to move to her country to have some family support. What will makes me lose the childbirth, and I'll be away from the baby basically forever, being an absent father. I'm trying really hard to forgive her. We had couple therapy last Saturday and the therapist said that she wants to treat me. Update. My wife cheated on me and now I feel like I don't want our future baby. 1 month ago I discovered she had been unfaithful on February last year. I realized that our decision to have a baby 9 months later was made without my genuine consent. My choice to have a child was based on what I believed to be true at the time. Now that I'm aware of the infidelity, I feel that my decision was not valid because I didn't have the full picture. I'm not sure we would still be together if I had known about her actions earlier, and I certainly wouldn't have agreed to have a child under these circumstances. Edit trying to make more understandable. Update. Wife asked for open the marriage and ended up cheated on me. February last year, while I was going abroad to get a surgery, my wife came with the brilliant idea of opening the marriage. I didn't want at first but ended up accepting with some rules at place. 1 can't be someone who orbited us, 2 can't be in our home, 3 can't repeat, 4 we will never talk about it. First week of February I got Tinder and had an opportunity to have sex with someone, but I just didn't feel like and didn't meet the girl. 2 days before my surgery, she tells me a friend from work had his house full of guests and she offered our guest room for him to stay. The day I had my surgery, this guy arrived at my house, and she tells me not to worry about that. I just messaged her saying I wasn't worried about it and I trusted her blindly. Next day I had a breakdown and at night started to text her saying I don't want the marriage to be open, and she gets angry and over text, she made me feel secure about she wasn't going to do anything. While we are having this conversation, she's in the sofa with a guy and they kissed each other, and she went to our room alone, a bit shocked on what happened. Next day we texted each other and she's still angry, and I take back the closing marriage thing but added a rule: if she does something I wanted to know, she gets angry saying that makes no sense, and so she wasn't going to do anything and end the texting. That same night she went out with friends and bring this guy home and had sex with him. Few days later we had a phone call where the subject comes up, and I told her I had the opportunity but didn't want, and she tells me she didn't do anything. Other few days pass by, and we had another phone call where the subject comes up again. And she's really angry, telling me that telling each other makes no sense, and after an argument I told her, if that was she wants, she can do whatever she wants, and when I get back home we'd talk about. This weekend she goes out, come back home, and after texting me for a while we give good night to each other, and she called the same guy to come over our house, and they had sex at that night and the morning. After that I come back home almost full recovered from my C-surgery, and our relationship is not working for about a month. After a long conversation she decided to give us a chance, and our relationship gets really good very fast. Few months later she introduced me to her working friends, including the guy she had sex with. We went out about 4 times in total, being one in his house. Her friend and she stopped their friendship due values difference, and she's the manager and he's not a good worker, so she had to report him. November we decided to go for a baby. She got pregnant at first try. I have no doubt the kid is mine. December the guy left the company. About 2.5 months ago I involuntarily made few connections in my brain and asked her. She said she wasn't going to answer. I held that inside myself for a month, and when I couldn't take any more I confronted her again, and she confessed everything I just wrote about her infidelity, lies and gaslighting. My reality cracked in front of my eyes. I still really broke and don't trust everything she told me. I feel like she hid things to make the story less worse. I can't stop to think about talking to the guy. I'm trying to stay, but it's way harder than I could imagine. The lies and gaslighting hurts me thousands times more than the infidelity itself.